As the written notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the provisions of the Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 5th, 2018. Mayor Cole? Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes, here.
Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Here.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Here.
Committeeman Delia?
Here. Thanks, Katie. Everybody please rise for a salute to the flag. Please remain standing for the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we pause to give our thanks for thy many blessings. We ask thy blessing upon this township committee and all those in authority so that they may serve the people. All this we ask in thy name. Amen.
Moved by Mike. Second by Isaac. All in favor? Aye. May I have a motion to approve the executive, workshop, and regular minutes of February 7th? So made. Moved by Isaac. Second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Abstain on this passed.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. All right, non-consent agenda resolutions.
Resolution making application to local finance board pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.3D.
Give a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mayor. I'll second. Second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Okay, there are no ordinances for discussion. At this point, I'll open the meeting to the public. If anybody would like to be heard, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Please keep your comments to 4 minutes or less. Dave?
David Drucker, 1433 Laurelwood Avenue. This is a story about improving community relations. I'm holding in my hand an article from the Asbury Park Press of October 11, 1965. An African-American family wanted to move from Fulton Avenue, now Martin Luther King Drive, to a new home on East A Street. A racist burned down the house. The article confirms it was arson. The article does not tell you what happened next. The people who lived in this community at the time got together and rebuilt the house. You know the family. Their name is DeCourcy. If you would like to see what Lakewood was like when I was in high school, come to the Lakewood High School Athletic Hall of Fame luncheon on May 5th at the Ramada Inn. I'll be happy to email an invitation form to anyone who is interested. They even have kosher food. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Britta Wenzel, and I live in Lavalette. I'm the executive director of a local grassroots environmental organization called Save Barnegat Bay. Some of you might be familiar with our organization. For those of you who are not, we were formed in 1971 by a group of neighbors around a kitchen table fighting an overdevelopment project, which happened to be in Bricktown. And so we are one of perhaps the oldest, actually, grassroots environmental organization in the county. The Bay, Barnegat Bay, are you familiar with Barnegat Bay? Barnegat Bay is the largest body of water in the state of New Jersey, and it goes from a little town called Bay Head, or the head of the bay, all the way down the Barrier Island, past Seaside Heights, Island Beach State Park, Barnegat Inlet, to the very bottom of Long Beach Island, or LBI, to Holy. And the watershed, that's the land that drains into the bay, is largely Ocean County and a little bit of Monmouth County. And so I'm here tonight to hopefully engage yourselves and Save Barnegat Bay in a fruitful relationship. Our organization has done a lot for land acquisition and stormwater and fertilizer laws. Hopefully some of these things are ringing a bell. So I brought with me tonight the most common question that people have is, how is Barnegat Bay doing? Can I share this with you? is a report, an Excel spreadsheet that is generated through something called the Clean Water Act. That's a major federal law that is intended to protect the quality of waters in the United States. And every 2 years, the state of New Jersey, the Department of Environmental Protection, makes a report to the federal government on the status of waters. So on the front page, you'll see Barnegat Bay proper, the body of water in Barnegat Bay. It's in 9 segments, and if you look with me really quickly, you'll see that in the first column, we'll just look at the first quality, which is aquatic life. Out of the 9 segments of the bay, 5 of them no longer support aquatic life, the basic function of the bay. And the 2 at the top, segments 1 and 2, you'll see say insufficient data. That's the Matitaconk Beaver Dam. It's where I grew up, actually, in Point Pleasant. That area typically, historically, has failed. In this particular report to the federal government, it says insufficient data because the meters weren't calibrated correctly. And then if you look further down to segments 6 and 7, they say insufficient data. In fact, usually those 2 segments pass for supporting aquatic life, largely because that's the mouth of the inlet, the Barnegat Inlet, and the waters come in and out of the bay and flush out a lot of the pollution. But that means that 7 segments out of 9 no longer support aquatic life. So generally speaking, what are we saving Barnegat Bay from? What is the work that we're trying to do? And it's essentially overdevelopment and the pollution that comes through rainwater off of the land. So we would like to talk with you, form a relationship with Lakewood, and see if we can help you. We offer programs like non-point education for municipal officials. Can I have?
Wrap it up, please.
Okay. And free rain barrel workshops. So is there a way that we could start to work with you?
Yeah, but reach out to my office. I'm happy to meet with you during the week sometime, and we can start the conversation.
Fantastic,
Tell me
thank
if
you.
using the rain barrels in my backyard properly or not.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Seeing nobody else, I knew that would get you up.
Good evening, Aaron Hirsch, 146 Mountain View Drive. I was lucky this week that we had snow. I got snowed and I couldn't leave town on Monday. So I managed to get to the zoning board meeting. It's very sad because the township spent so much money. They put up a whole front that we're going to wait and do traffic improvements and nothing's going to happen in Chestnut Cross Street. Nothing. Well, guess what? I found out this week in December they passed it, and the problem with it, the county wouldn't approve it. They were making higher density in our neighborhood in violation of the master plan. Now I hear there's a lot of craziness going on there. I really don't see the township committee getting involved. The township committee is hired by they represent the people, and they hire boards. Boards represent basically what the people of the town want. I can't understand when I got up and explained to the zoning board that yes, the county didn't approve this because it was a mess up, and we got lucky. We had another bite at that because they increased density without the traffic improvements, which is a big problem. Chestnut Street is one of the worst streets in Lakewood. New Hampshire is one of the highest accidents, and it's irresponsible. Whenever I drive there, I get close. Tonight, on my way back from the airport, I almost got hit. I'm not joking. It's not a joke anymore. You made rules that they can't have. You claim that until the traffic's improved. Well, guess what? They're doing it without it. What are you guys going to do for us? We're sitting ducks here. You're not protecting us. When are you guys going to help us? You're here to put people in place that represent the people, not special interests. This is crazy. I'm genuinely upset. If I didn't get stuck this week, I wouldn't have even been able to address it. But it's okay. But I told them exactly what the rules were, that the master plan was put in place, and you can't increase zoning. I said, yeah, they got approval over here. The county didn't give them approval, so their approval was good, but it was worthless because if the county didn't give them approval, they can't do anything with that approval. So it's useless. So the township zoning board had an opportunity to say, we don't want to do an amendment to the original approval. They had an opportunity to do it, and I told them that. But the lawyer told them whatever, and it appears that some of the attorneys in this township are more invested in helping other people than the actual locals. As I've seen recently at a court case, which no one even knew about for months, that apparently the township went and then some of the aspects of the master plan got overturned. I mean, does anyone even know what happened over here? Anyone know that the attorneys went? I saw it was on appeal. We had John Johnson over there talking, not on behalf of the people to protect us. It was basically for the developers. So I'm just trying to figure out, I know I'm getting so many things because I only have like another minute, and if you give me a little more time, I'd be more eloquent, but you don't give me that time. So to wrap it up, I need to understand how we're going to start getting accountability. The zoning boards and the planning boards are not doing what the people want. They are supposed to be your appointees, and you are what the people want. And it's not happening. There's a total disconnect, and things have got to change. I don't know. What do we have to do? What do I do? Just run around screaming? I mean, what do I need to do? We got enact Faulkner and have local representation? So like this, they actually answer to people, not higher authorities? Something's got to change. People are genuinely upset, and it really hurts because I missed one meeting in December, they managed to get away with it. But then this week, when I went to the zoning board, there was a lot of people showing up. They were upset because they found out we had a second bite at it. But of course, they bypassed it. They couldn't care. I don't know. You guys really got to show some action. You know, it's nice to have all the names. You know, I'm this and that, but do something for us, please. In a genuinely way. I mean it in all respect. Please, we need help, and it's time to trust the people. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, Aaron.
Shloime Klein, 189. You guys are ready?
Been waiting weeks.
I'll let you speak this time. This is my question. I know Mayor Lichtenstein was a big advocate to get more density, more people coming, moving into Lakewood. He worked years for that. And the other side is that infrastructure doesn't support that. I would like to give the township committee an opportunity to address this problem. Density versus infrastructure. What are you guys doing? What is your opinion now? You keep on changing your opinions. I'll give my minutes and I'll let you guys address this because this is one of the major problems that we have now in Lakewood. Nobody has a problem with developers making money, but people want to live, people want to drive. So how do you address that?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to look into the situation that Mr. Hirsch just mentioned. I'm not familiar with it, so I'll talk to the zoning board attorney about it. We put a lot of work into the master plan last year. Some people like it, some don't. Some are probably in the middle like I am. I don't think any of the stuff in the master plan increased density immediately. We put some restrictions, as many as we could in. One of them was overturned by Judge Ford because on a technicality, for lack of a better word, but all the others were upheld.
Was
So,
there any collusion with that?
what's that?
You can't speak about it. It's attorney
I didn't hear what you said.
I asked if there was any collusions on that. I'll let you speak, right? Sorry.
And that's what it is. I mean, we are balancing the needs. In fact, Pat and I spent an hour and a half at the Asbury Park Press today talking about infrastructure, business growth, the things in town, and how things are going. So I'm sure you'll be able to see the results of that in the paper the next day or so. But it's a balancing act, and I think that the results of the master plan last year was a long, hard-fought process, and at the end, like you said, when you have a compromise, you have the people leave happy about one thing and unhappy about the other, and many people in these act opposite. So we tried to thread the needle as best we could to try and address the needs of town and also address the long-term impact of any type of infrastructure. You said you were done.
Yeah,
Sorry.
now I just changed my mind. As the people are moving in, more houses are coming in, no matter if the judge overturns it or not. Do you see the easing of the infrastructure pieces of the traffic improvement that there will be as, let's say, as a year from now, the driving conditions will be better or worse, or 2 years from now? When do you see that turning point that will say is it's becoming worse before it's becoming better? You have like a time frame what your vision is looking out for that? Not asking what you're doing, I'm just asking.
I said we've seen some improvement already. I mean,
It's getting worse by the day.
No, I don't think so. I mean, in certain areas possibly, but Again, Mayor and I were down at the county earlier this week. Their Cross Street project is in development. Some of it might actually be under construction relatively soon. There's a number of other areas in town where we're going to do some mainly intersection improvements, put in turning lanes and whatnot that are going to really be a help to get rid of some of the backup we have in different parts of town.
So
We're looking
give
to
me like the time frame?
now.
Yeah, 9 minutes is
I'm
good.
trying to use it up as quickly as I can.
Yeah, I know.
So, the traffic lights, the timing, there's all sorts of stuff that are going on. And I can judge by the amount of phone calls, emails I got regarding traffic over the past year. And they've gone down significantly. I still get calls asking me about, it's better than it was, but what do we need to do to make it better? And I still get some of the calls about things that are out of our control, like Route 9.
Who
So
sent
we're
you those
constant, we're
emails?
constant, I'm not gonna tell you who they are.
Developers?
We're harassing them online.
No, I'm saying is,
You know,
the traffic is not improving.
we're trying to get the state to commit to the work they promised to do on Route 9 as a first step. And the widening of that, hopefully in my lifetime. But some of the things that are in the pipeline right now are going to be able to significantly improve traffic along Route 9.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else like to be heard? You want to speak? Name and address for the record, please.
Joseph Clark, 1468 Oak Street. So we actually handed a petition, residents of Oak Street, virtually every resident on Oak Street, with regard to the interesting development of the zoning on Oak Street over the last few years, where zoning Oak Street was opened up as an artery of traffic from Route 9 to New Hampshire Avenue, and so it's a pretty busy street of people that went to both schools and all types of stuff. So essentially, what we're seeing on Oak Street is the R20 zoning is keeping the lots very large. And because of that, everyone's looking at those houses and they're saying, when can we go to school on it? When could we go and do something that will keep the place not residential? Because economically, the residential neighborhoods either are going to be, you can put a decent fair amount of houses per lot, or you're going to go and go ahead and build a beautiful house on a nice quiet street like you see in the other R20 areas. So we have this R20 area, which is currently not so desirable for people who want to have actual R20 lifestyle. So you don't have a single house going up on the whole Oak Street. On entire Oak Street, on that portion from New Hampshire Avenue to Elwood Avenue, about one house has gone up, and everyone's like, we're going to eventually just have to sell to a school because they appreciate the land. But the homeowners don't appreciate the land, and they're going to anyway have like a more typical density that you anyway wouldn't see on the other R20 areas. So what we've asked is, we've said, we're a moderately dense street in Lakewood. We would like a moderate zoning as would seem appropriate. Appropriate would be what you would see in like a place like Martin Luther King, where it's also an artery, and you got beautiful houses that were built in a way that optimized the available area with the existing traffic. I don't think it made more traffic because the traffic on Martin Luther King was pretty, was pretty average, maybe slightly more dense, and that's the traffic we have now. So essentially, the residents of Oak Street, and I'm one of them, a homeowner, and I live there. So we're just telling ourselves, I wouldn't want to build a house for the size my family needs right now, when a school might come next door, and if I sell, the only one that would buy would be a school. So it's like everyone's like looking at each other and saying, could we get this to be our 7 o'clock zoning in a way that would just be very typical for Lakewood, as the character is not the character of R20 in other streets.
Well, as I was going to say, we have discussed it amongst ourselves at times, and as Steve just mentioned, something like that could definitely be challenged in court as a spot zoning, which is illegal. So at this point in time, I do not see us going forward with that zoning change.
Right, I hear that. And because the character of Oak Street is just the character is so different than what you're going and you're seeing in the other place of R20. You said the character is completely different. If someone would have a main street right next to a small dead end, right, so you're going to probably have a certain zoning for the dead end and a certain zoning for the artery. Or so spot zoning just physically, if this is 20 feet away from the other place, so that it has to have the same zoning. Or when you say, if this is an artery from Rhode Island to New Hampshire, and the other one is, it ends on both ends, and either a dead end or just not as a thoroughfare, would that in any way be allowed to, spot zoning? Spot zoning is
Maybe we have a plan to look at it, but I think it's possible.
I mean, Oak Street itself now, as you go up and down Oak Street, you can see much more density. We would never ask for the type of duplexes that you see on the bottom of Oak Street there. We don't want it, other people don't want that, we're not asking for that. So we just want to be more typical for Lakewood. And again, commercial is New Hampshire, so I don't think that the other residents around us want commercial. We would just ask for something in the middle.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Thanks so much.
Anybody else like to be heard? Sorry, guys. Next time. All right, we'll close the public portion. Is there anything that anybody would like to remove from the consent agenda? If there's not, can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So made.
Second by Mayor, second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Finnegan Ackerman.
Yes.
Finnegan Delia.
Yes.
Mayor Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Foltz.
Yes. Ordinance is the first reading?
Ordinance of the Township of Lake County, Ocean State.
Second reading, I'm sorry.
State of New Jersey amending and supplementing Article 9, zoning districts and regulations, Section 18A of the Unified Development Ordinance and the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lakewood.
If anybody would like to be heard of this ordinance only, please come forward.
Shloim, I make sure to put that on here. I just wanna give you like a test, if you know what this ordinance is all about before you're voting on it.
To allow people to put a landing outside doors, to allow them to use the back doors when some of the houses are built right to the property.
I assume it's allowed now. What is the loophole? What are the developers or whoever, what are they getting out of this?
Developers, nothing, if I'm not mistaken, these are all for existing homes, correct? And so the homeowners are being allowed to use their back doors and put a small concrete pad outside. This is a landing.
Like by the landing?
Okay, exactly what it is. Just put a
Till
concrete
now,
pad.
they were not allowed.
Correct.
That means that they have the steps without the landing, steps are allowed?
No, right now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, those doors were just kind of closed off and they weren't usable.
So technically, this cannot be used on new construction, only on old ones? This is what I'm seeing happening.
No,
So
I understand.
let me just tell you what I think this is. We have a lot of units in Lakewood. People came for the zoning board, planning board, and claim is we need a 20 feet setback. They don't, where's the deck? We don't have a deck. Then they put these porch doors, the two doors, they put like a gate over there, you can't use it, and then they start doing it illegally, putting it up, and then people, we have people going around, I guess, and looking for decks, or neighbors, they put in a complaint, the zoning board, the inspection department comes down, he's not gonna fine, come back to the zoning board and ask for waivers on that, on this problem. So what we're doing now is, we're saying is you don't have to come anymore for the zoning board. You could just do it. You could make steps. You could do it inside the setback. And basically what's going to happen now is that the end user is going to lose out because we're having a situation that the developer would have put a 30-foot setback and put the 10-foot deck in the 30 foot, and then you would have left over with a 10 foot, actually 20 feet. Now what's happening is the developer are going to minimize the lots, or whichever way they will figure it out, and they will say, yes, we don't have a deck, but we could put a landing as far as steps going down in the setback. So I'm just asking you, is this, what are you looking in this ordinance to help out? Are you looking to help out the end users that getting fooled by the developers, and we have a lot of end users like that. We could see in Oak Street corridor, the Oakham line, that you actually voted no. I have to mention it again. You're the only one that voted no. But you have a couple of units that you see is that they have these locked up thing, and they're waiting for this ordinance to pass to be able to, and this was not an attempt when they did the ordinance, to have that situation that people shouldn't have decks because you don't have space in the property.
Well, Harold, this doesn't allow decks, does it? It just allows a concrete landing outside the first floor.
That's correct. The only words that were in subparagraph 85 of the ordinance, it had read all other steps excluding landing or stoop may project into the front or rear yard setback. And now it says including a maximum 6 foot by 4 foot landing or stoop, 6 foot with 4 foot into the rear
So
yard
the steps
setback.
were already there, but now they're allowed to put
There's a step there, it's now so that the stoop can be up to code, because code requires it to be 6 foot wide, 4 foot width.
So we're talking about the concrete slab at the bottom, or we're talking on top? So technically, you're giving them a 4x6 deck.
It's not concrete slab, it's that.
So we're talking about not what you said before, Ray. Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to stand over here and clarify for this committee what you guys are voting for. You're just voting for another deck. That means that they won't get a deck of 12 by 11, 12 by 14. They'll get a deck of 4 by 12, 4 by 6. That's what they're doing. And I think Mr. Ackerman is quiet, but you know, he was by the planning board when this ordinance was discussed, and he was going back and forth. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You're just sitting silently here, you don't say anything, when you knew all the time is what this is all about. Not trying to make you look bad, but just, that's the way it is.
The mayor was more or less on track, so and I didn't want to interrupt,
But obviously it was not. We're talking not about landings, we're talking about.
well, he didn't say landing until I would have corrected it if he would have said landing at the beginning, but he didn't say in the beginning, so I assumed that we're on the same page. But I try not to interrupt people when they're, when they're talking, typically.
So are we on the same page what this ordinance is about? I'm seeing deck, and somebody else is seeing landing, or we're eye to eye on this? I'm just asking.
I'm going to admit that I was mistaken. I thought this was allowing a concrete pad outside of the door so that people could use it. So,
Wow, Mayor, you're a real mensch to admit that you didn't know, and public, I give you a lot of credit.
thank you, Sean. Anybody else like to be heard on this? Seeing nobody, can I have a motion?
So I'll move it.
I'll second.
Second by Isaac. I changed my mind, this guy, just so you know where I'm going at the end. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
No.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
No. Ordinance passes, second, that's it.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean State of New Jersey, changing the name of a street to Melrose Court from Garden Hills Drive pursuant to and in accordance with NJSA 40:67-1K et sec.
Do we need the public on this ordinance?
Shlomo Klein, what is wrong with the name Garden Hills Drive? Such a nice name. Why are we changing this?
I think it was very similar name. But as long as there was no houses built on it, at the time the developer can put that in.
Is there a Melrose Street?
Actually, you're changing it to Melrose.
That's what I'm wondering.
That's my second question. What's so special with the name Melrose?
That's what the homeowners asked for.
Oh.
Do you remember what the original request to change it was?
Developer owns all the property on the street, wanted us to change the name. That was the reason. I think there was something that was similar.
Correct.
Okay.
So they went to, they picked another name for it, it was developers request, and I was going to
So how does it work with names? You know, who chooses the names? The developer? Or is there like a commission that chooses names?
A lot of the paper streets have been named for, I don't know how far back. If somebody comes in and they're putting in development that doesn't use the existing paper streets, I believe they're allowed to suggest names for it. If there's a street name that's similar, you can request a change on it so that there's no concerns about, emergency services getting to them, make it a little bit more,
So
less-
the committee has authority to just give it a different name, not Melrose. I have nothing against, I'm not discriminating against Melrose, but I'm just saying.
You have the ability to approve a request from a homeowner. I'm only aware of one instance about 20 years ago where the committee suggested a street name change.
Okay.
Before I was on the committee.
Mr. Mayor, I hate to correct you, but, because as I said earlier, but Matlo's Way was changed a couple of years ago.
That was an honor, but it's still there.
I just wanted, thank you.
Actually, Mr. Klein, I was thinking of Melville Avenue, so it's okay.
No, these requests usually come in from Fran Siegel. She sees when she sees a name, a lot of times they come from France Siegel, she sees a name, she discusses it with the developer, and asks the developer, points out to the developer that there's a similar sounding name, and then they work it out between each other to change the name. That's often what happens.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on this ordinance? Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. Your motion?
Motion.
Second. Second by Mayor. Any discussion? Roll call.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes.
Ordinance passed. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the conveyance and execution of a deed of fee simple interest to the County of Ocean for road widening from a portion of lot 62, block 11.12, New Egypt Road.
Open the meeting to the public on this ordinance only.
Yes, Shlomo Klein, what are you trying to do? Is you're trying to convey a deed to the county?
County asked us for additional land so they could put in a turn lane.
So who owns the land now?
Well, we own it now. If we convey it to them, it belongs to the county, and they'll include it into the road.
So how much are you giving them?
I don't think we're charging anything for it.
No, how much space are you giving them?
3 feet.
3 feet from a township road, from a township property. So I'm just trying to think that you have a whole road over there, let's say a few hundred feet, that is everything owned by the township and not by a private owner? Or the private owner conveyed it to the township now conveys it to
This is township property that we own, that we're conveying the 3 feet to the county. Correct or incorrect?
I don't think you have any empty land in Lakewood.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor, it's a detention basin.
Uh-huh. So there's just a part of how many feet? That would be that?
What did you say, 3 feet?
No, 3 feet in the length, how much? I guess what's happening is all of the other ones, the private homeowners would dedicate it, and this is the only part that is still owned by the township, that the township has to do it. Because it makes no sense is that only the front of the township property, the county is going to widen the street and not the rest of them. I'm just trying to clarify what's going on, not that I'm trying to put
It's
you.
about 1,700, it says 1,788 square feet, so 3 feet, so about 500 foot, between 500 and 600 foot.
And I guess the rest of it, that the widening, they're asking from the homeowners on the,
No, I think they just need this to make a turning lane.
oh, it's only for a turning lane.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard in this ordinance? Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing.
Motion. Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Mayor, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Ordinance passes.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 12 entitled Traffic, specifically Section 11-26B entitled School Bus Loading and Unloading Zones on 6th Street.
Open the meeting to the public, anybody like to be heard in this ordinance?
Is this in front of Rabbi Tendler Shul?
No, it's in front of the school, adjacent to Rabbi Tender's shul.
And the way I understand that there's a dispute going on over there, so which side are you choosing? The school or Rabbi Tendler?
Neither.
Who's the one that requested this in the zoning change?
The bus loading zone from the school.
So obviously you're choosing the school side. There is a dispute going on,
Safety of children.
but there is a dispute going on there, and it's in court, and I'm afraid, this is what I'm afraid is, that the committee is, again, did Rabbi Tendler Shul agree to this ordinance? Or,
I don't believe they're happy with it, but we're putting the loading zone in to make sure the kids get in and out safely.
I hear, so obviously you're choosing to choose the school, the school side. I'll see by your votes who chooses what, Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else like to be heard in this ordinance? Seeing nobody, we'll close the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mayor. Second by Isaac, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 2 entitled Administration, specifically Article 5, Department of Finance, specifically Section 2.12.2.
Open the meeting to the public in this ordinance.
What is this ordinance? I don't even start to understand this ordinance. Obviously, I'm reading it from here. But something for the Department of Finance, who's getting money?
Nobody's getting money. Pat, you want to explain it? You want to get it right this time?
This is just to continue for the bills for local finance to our fully adopted budget happens mid-May, late May.
To do what?
We have to notice per the statute, we have to put it out there to move the proper funds to continue with the billing
This
process.
is for the bill today. This is the last one too.
Oh, I thought this was.
You look at the next one,
I apologize.
sorry.
No, this is just so the bill cycle continues to move in between meetings. Because what will happen is you have sometimes vendors pull out and they will not process parts or services for certain things if they don't have a purchase order in hand. So we have to notice this way. It gives the CMFO the ability to process.
So technically, somebody is not doing the thing they're supposed to do. Somebody's not giving in a purchase order, something the vendors are not doing right, and you're just helping them out and saying we'll give them some leeway. I'm trying to understand what this is all about. I'm not trying to, I just want to understand. This is something, an ordinance, doing something in the public law.
The bill continues to go on the bills list regardless. It's a matter of continuing to provide service, what's required to move each individual department, whatever it may be.
So let's say a vendor has a contract for a year, the year expires and you didn't come yet for the committee to get him the approval for the new contract. No, that's not what it
Not
is?
the case. If I need to buy tires for a truck and I'm in between meetings, I can go out through the CMFO's ability through his license, go out and process a purchase order in between. That bill, in turn, is on the next bills list. It gives us the ability to keep that truck on the road, continue to pick up trash, recycling, plow the road. That's what it is. Doesn't have to do anything.
That is a good example for public works, but my concern is that you might use that to buy computers, to buy screens. I just want to make sure I understand where your concern is, because you're coming from public works, and when you have things that have to go on, you can't get everything like an emergency basis to get everything approved by the committee. But what does this make to protect that it's not abused?
No matter how it works, that purchase of salt, sand, something for police department inspections, whatever it may be, that still has to get onto the bills list. So it's not a matter of giving someone the authority to skip a step through the purchasing process of the state of New Jersey. It's not allowed. It just allows us to continue to provide service, not halt service until the following bills list.
So you're saying it's only on something that is already approved in its continuous basis, not something is that you're going to buy something new.
Correct.
My understanding is correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard? See, nobody will close the public hearing on this ordinance. Moved by Myers.
Second.
By Mayor. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Folks?
Yes, ordinance is for first reading. All public hearings will be scheduled for March 28th.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 3 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lakewood, 1999, entitled Police Regulations, by the addition of a new section 3-30 entitled Cold Blue Warming Center.
We have a motion.
Motion for purpose of discussion.
Second. Second by Minash. Discussion.
Mayor, I just wanted to compliment you for working so hard on this ordinance. I know that the big heart that you have and you continue to lead and make sure that the entire township committee has to help the less fortunate people in our town is really an example.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia?
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Folks?
Yes.
Second reading public hearing scheduled for March 28, 2019. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the conveyance and execution of a deed of easement for road widening to the County of Ocean for a 156 square foot portion of Lot 191, Lot 13, fronting on County Line Road, east right of way.
I'll move it. Moved by
Second.
By Mayor. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes.
Second reading, public hearing scheduled for March 28th. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the private
Guys,
sale
can you down out there, please?
of block 175, lot 62, vacant land, no assigned address in the area of Kennedy Boulevard East in the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, a private sale pursuant to NJSA 48:12-1 at second.
Motion.
Move.
Moved by Mayor.
Second.
Second by Menage, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes.
Ordinance carries second reading, public hearing scheduled for March 28th. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing and directing that an easement of certain real property in block 174.04, block 20.01, block 175.02, block 87, block 183, lots 1, 2, and 4, block 183, lot 5, and block 187.16, block 104, be acquired by donation, purchase, or condemnation for the construction of sidewalks.
Move.
Moved by Mayor.
Second.
Second by Menage. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes. Any correspondence?
No.
No correspondence, we have a motion for the bill list of March 6th.
We're missing ordinances,
Maybe.
man.
There's some ordinances that you forgot.
Yeah.
I didn't have the last page of my
Sorry.
computer's out here tonight.
Okay, ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, releasing, extinguishing, and vacating portions of certain streets, accepting the dedication of other portions of land for public streets, and to further accept the dedication of property.
Motion.
Move.
Moved by Mayor. Second. Second by Menage, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes.
Ordinance carries second reading, March 28, 2019. Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 11, traffic, Section 11-13, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets of the revised general ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, 1999, East 7th Street.
Move.
Moved by Mayor.
Second.
Second by Menage, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes.
Ordinance passes second reading set for March 28, 2019. Ordinance of Township of Lakewood County, Ocean State, New Jersey, releasing, extinguishing, and vacating the rights of the public to a portion of Paper Street known as Evergreen Boulevard in the Township of Lakewood.
Move.
Second. Moved by Mayor, second by Menage, discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds. Ordinance carries second reading scheduled for March 28, 2019.
Motion to approve the bill list of March 6th.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second by Mayor, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Folds.
Yes. Comments from committee members?
Mayor, I have one quick one. I meant to bring it up upstairs and I forgot, sorry. I was wondering if, now with the advent of cameras and all sorts of electronics around houses and those ring bells, I was wondering if there's a way, I know you're technologically savvy, thank you, or technology savvy. Do you think that it would be costly, I know we looked at it once, to ask that in future building permits, we have a lit address on the house that says both the number of the house and the street name? I know we once looked at it and it got very complicated, but we spoke about it 10, 12 years ago. And I think that it might be something that maybe you could ask the planning department to look at and get back to us with the recommendation. I keep forgetting to bring it up, that's what I said. Okay.
Yeah, we see with all builders are putting one already.
Yeah, I see most of them are.
Emergency responders, that would be excellent.
What's that?
Emergency responders, that would be excellent.
I think it's a great idea too, so.
I'll look into it. No other comments? Yes, I'm sure.
No, I just want to tell everybody have a good night and have a good weekend.
All right, Steve, motion to adjourn.
So made.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Stay.